Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on GTA 5 with some more downhill chaos, and we start with the world's greatest getaway car. Yes, the Daewoo is back. This is a slightly different version, the latest version of the mod, so we've got some random extras on the car. We have like a front little spoiler, a front splitter, sorry, and a big old rear wing, just for good measure, because you know every Daewoo estate car needs a rear wing on it. I think that's just how they should come from the factory, or how they should have come from the factory. Yeah, this car, I was slightly nervous about driving down Chiliad, I will be honest. While there is a custom handling file for this car, which I believe I have installed correctly, it still feels very, very front heavy when we get it in the air, and it still has a tendency to kind of spin around in a circle if we go near a bush. So got to be very careful with the bushes, and the bushes around this Chiliad course are very, very mean. I didn't even have to go near them on our first attempt to have a problem. Carried speed over the jump, got a lot of airtime, landed heavily on the front, and in sort of trying to correct it and sort it all out, the car got a little bit unhappy and decided we're going to fall off the mountain. Admittedly, it was a relatively graceful slide off the mountain, no real damage done to the car, but yeah, got to be careful. Again, braked a little bit too late, and this was a section that was causing me lots of problems down here, making sure to get the car stopped. And the thing was, the way that the kind of the track is the elevation changes through there, I should say, it has a tendency to make normal cars have oversteer issues. And yeah, when you have quite an oversteering car such as this one, it doesn't take much. This time running a little bit too wide, seen many a car do similar things through there. You just get a little too late on the brakes, and yeah, end up climbing the rock on the inside, and that's going to leave you with an upside down Daewoo. Not perfect. Coming through turn 1, and all of the bushes were making the Daewoo dance. Somehow I managed to recover it all the way. I think it was 3 rotations. I got it back pointing the correct way on the road, and then it all went wrong over the jump straight away. So yeah, it was an impressive stunt from the Daewoo. It does roll pretty well once it gets going. But yeah, this kind of shape of car, yeah, it does roll. It does roll relatively well. Eventually got it sort of stuck down the mountain, losing many of the bodyworks. I think it was a fender doing a bit of a dance down there in the distance. Again, same place, ran wide through the corner. I fought the car for control. I got it back, only to then instantly lose it across a bump that you don't normally find. Landed on the rear. I was worried about the car exploding on that one. Thought we were going to see a fireball instead of a Daewoo there, but got away with bouncing it off the rear, and then we're just getting chucked about by the rocks. It does like pointing backwards. Certainly, this car doesn't take too much when you get things just a little bit wrong, when you hit a bump slightly awkwardly, or you end up kind of clipping one of the slowy downy bushes. Yeah, it doesn't take much at all to get this car to be unsettled. Again, exactly the same place, similar problems. Just running it a tiny little bit too wide, and the second the rear of the car goes over that edge, that's it. Daewoo is gone round. Another issue that I had with it being flying very, very nose down is that particular jump is a nightmare. I cannot go fast enough over that jump to get the car to level out before it hits the ground. So you end up keep smacking the nose on the floor, which is, yeah, less than ideal. Again, further up, I was trying to be carefuler down here, not carry so much speed, and then going slower. It meant it flopped off the edge and bounced off the nose again. So yeah, the jumps were tricky. You had to go quick enough to level the car out, otherwise you were going to go for a big accident. Again, I tried going quicker, still couldn't quite get it leveled out, and the problem is going quick down there is not ideal, because you've still got to get it slowed down for the corner. I didn't really find a solution to that, other than, for the first time ever, having to avoid that second big jump. The little side escape roady bit, yeah, that's less than ideal for the Daewoo. The bushes there, we've seen them cause many issues for lots of cars, and in this, if you stray near them, you'll spin. Basically, I fought it for control, very nearly got it back, but ended up taking too much speed into the second to last corner and bouncing around and so on. Yeah, you've got to be careful driving the Daewoo down here. It's you can't really go near any of the bushes, and whenever it goes in the air, you're constantly worrying about the front of the car smacking into the ground and flipping you over. I mean, otherwise it's not too bad at all, really. It's it's got decent speed around here. It is front-wheel drive, doesn't have the greatest of tractions, although we're not going to be having. This thing was rear-wheel drive with this twitchier back end. I'm not quite sure what on earth would have. You probably just spin in circles constantly. Yeah, it's okay. For speed-wise, just the main thing is you constantly got to be aware of what's going to happen if you get the car up in the air and what's going to happen if you try and go through a bush. On this, I say clean run. This is the best run that I got from the car. And we're still having issues on the landing of the jumps. If you go quickly across that one there, you end up missing the next corner. If you do that, you end up kind of climbing up the rock face. This is what I was having to doing this jump to actually make it. Admittedly, normally without the spin, that time the back of the car just let go and went round, and amazingly it all came out pointing the right direction. Yeah, first car I've ever had to avoid that jump with. It's better down here because you're going faster, and the car does really well on the landing of that jump. It deals with the landing, once you've got it leveled out, deals with the landing very, very well. This time out, we still get some oversteer coming down the escape road, and it's bouncing, it's on its side at one point. It was very, very, very much on the edge through that section, but managed to avoid any of the dastardly bushes, and we made it across the line, and just for good measure, the Daewoo would go for a roll. Yeah, a tricky car to drive. There are things that it has problems with that I've never seen vehicles have problems with before, and we did have to go for one slight rotation on this particular run to get the car to the finish. Yeah, I mean, it's the world's best getaway car, or GTA 5's best getaway car. Chiliad, though, getting down at its speed, not quite its strong point. Up next, we have got a Volvo S60. I saw this car appear on the forums, on the website, sorry, had to go and give it a try. I do like the S60. This one, it is based on an Oracle, so, okay, we're not expecting it to keep up with the likes of the supercars, as the hike as well. The hikers, as GTA 5 hikers like to do, walk in front of the camera when I'm filming stuff. I mean, this is, it's not going to likely be challenging the supercars. However, I thought that it could do relatively well down here. Now the car is rear-wheel drive, unlike the actual Volvo, which is four-wheel drive. So it is a little bit more sluggish off the line. It does sort of spin the wheels and so on when you're trying to set off. And oversteer was something that I thought could potentially be a problem, but most of the time you don't have particularly oversteering cars. Certainly not outside the super and sports cars on here. I may have just got carried away with taking a little bit too much speed on this opening run. Same thing I've been doing with the the bloomin' Daewoo down there. I just dropped the wheel off. It wasn't as spectacular a spin with this car, much more controlled when things go a little bit wrong, but yeah, not quite. It wasn't quite getting it slowed down enough through there. I was trying to carry the speed, and it's a very, very tight sort of the first part of that corner is very, very fast, but it tightens up incredibly quickly. So yeah, if you get things a little bit wrong, you are in trouble. Another new way to crash for the Volvo this time. I actually got it up on two wheels approaching the jump, and sort of just lost control of the car. Ended up leaving the jump sort of sideways, and that's never a good idea to be doing. It bounced and rolled, and we lost the front bumper. Instant karma, in effect. I managed to clatter a hiker while bouncing through the air, and that was enough to fire the Volvo off down the mountain. A very spectacular roll this time around. I do love the incredibly shiny underside of the car. Not quite sure why that is so, but yeah, the damage on this vehicle is really cool. I have to say, I really like the damage model they've got going on with this. You can, we lost the bumper. You can see like the roof line kind of dents. I mean, the roofs on the cars in GTA 5 don't really deform, but this one's got some of the best damage that I've seen with it kind of bending and so on. It was an unusual roll, that one. Now we see cars roll in that manner through that turn. Sort of the SUVs, the higher riding cars, often have issues, will go up on two wheels through there. I wasn't expecting to see the Volvo do it. That's I must have just hit the corner completely right for getting the car to roll. Very unusual to see a normal sedan go for a tumble there. The very fast jump, tried to get away with carrying a lot of speed over there, and I couldn't quite. It's so close, but I couldn't quite, and then we promptly shed all of the doors in the in the accident. The rest of the panels, I think, stay on the car. We just lose all of the doors in that tumble, which is quite... I couldn't do that if I tried, but yeah, they're all gone. Again, you can see that the damage around the roofline and so on. Again, next attempt, I tried... I actually got it slowed down to a good speed, just the front of the car lifted up on landing, and that's never a good thing to have happen. And then we're trying to go for a roll record. The Volvo tumbles spectacularly well, also going down here. It's a lot of rolls in that particular one, and stuck on the roof. But you can see how like the chassis sort of bends from the damage, which I think is really, really cool, especially for a modded car. This one, it's not a standard car from the game, and you can see like by the roof and the pillars. I think the damage on this car is absolutely fantastic. And again, we managed to lose most of the doors. The Volvo was certainly an easier car to get down Chiliad. Didn't take too long to get a decent run out of this car. And there's decent performance from the Oracle base, if you like, and handling. Yeah, handling was pretty good. I mean, you know, you're always going to have to be careful when driving down here. It's incredibly narrow and at places very, very quick. So making mistakes is incredibly easy. That time there, making sure to get it slowed down, was taking a slightly different line around that corner. I didn't want the car to tumble over, but yeah, you could chuck this car around through the turns. You could sort of flick the handbrake on, get it around the hairpin. There was no real major issues with this car. It was just a solid, nice vehicle to drive down the mountain. On this particular run, I was a little bit slow of that jump. I could have probably got away with taking a little bit more speed. One of the strong points with this car, it dealt with the landings. The landings of the jump really, really well. Yes, I did have a couple of big offs over the fast jump, but they were the odd ones out. On the most part, you see there, it landed so smoothly, so nicely across that jump. And again, further down here, I carried a huge amount of speed across there. The back end only ever so slightly lifted up in the air. Did really, really well. And again, I'm firing it. That's a full-on jump down this side road, and it was fine with the landing and didn't lose control of it. Managing the bumps, or landing of the jumps, I should say, did really, really well. Did get it up onto two wheels around that second to last corner, which scared the crap out of me briefly. And yeah, the Volvo is across the line. Very, very solid vehicle, this one. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get it stopped in time before going into a tree. But yeah, a really nice solid car to drive down Chiliad. Dealt with everything the course could throw at it. Dealt with it all really, really rather well. Not quite sure where I damaged the front of the car. I hit this tree on the side, maybe on the landing of a jump somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, the front got a little bit banged up. Our final vehicle for today, yep, we have got a Hummer, the Hummer H1. This replaces the Patriot, as you would perhaps expect. Well, it is a proper off-roading vehicle, so I wasn't expecting to have. It should deal with the course, it should deal with the bumps and the jumps, hopefully, that the course can throw at it. However, it is on. Well, it's on the Patriot kind of chassis, or whatever, or the model. And the first thing that I immediately notice is the brakes are awful. It just does not stop. Now, I don't remember the normal Patriot having so bad brakes, so I'm guessing perhaps the Hummer slightly heavier or whatever. It doesn't stop, basically, especially down that first section. I couldn't get it stopped, and then we tumble and yeah, come to a rest with the bonnet hanging open. And again, just trying to get it slowed and turned for the first corner, I couldn't quite do it. I didn't plummet off in the same way that I did the first time. It was a little bit more controlled initially, but now it's starting to go back downhill again, and the brakes are next to useless at this stage. As you can see, I'm solidly on the brakes. Everything's locked, I think, across the dirt, and I cannot stop it. And now we're just gaining more and more speed, whizzing past a tree. Now we're starting to tumble and everything. It's, yeah, very much a fight for control when it starts doing this. I eventually managed to get it spun round and sorted out. There was a bit of an adventure on the way down the side of Chiliad. Still trying to get this car stopped for turn one. Still wasn't quite working. Almost made it. Didn't quite adventure as far down Chiliad this time around. Yeah, if you end up out wide across that rock, there's a very good chance you're about to have a very, very big accident. More exploring in new and unusual ways with the Hummer. Again, frantically trying to stop the car, rip the handbrake, and amazingly, we don't go tumbling over the edge there. Again, I'd had problems without breaking myself with the Volvo and with the Daewoo at that early section, and the Hummer was no exception. I did start to get the hang of the first part of the course with this car. It was actually quite agile, which caught me out. I took too tight a line around the really tight hairpin and promptly put it on its side. Didn't quite roll it over all the way, But yeah, it did a really good job of getting turned. I was expecting it to be a lot worse at getting turned around some of these corners. Some more two-wheeled antics from the Hummer there. Yeah, not really an ideal place to get up onto two wheels. Admittedly, it's better than we have seen plenty of cars roll through that section. But yeah, once you're up on two wheels, car just can't stop it in time. And while, as I said, I was getting better at turn one, there was still some big accidents off that part. It only took to brake a fraction too late, because there is a big bump on the way into that turn one area. If you brake just a little bit too late and then your vehicle gets airborne across the bump, you are never stopping in time for the first corner, and that is the outcome. You will go spiraling out of control down the mountain 9 times out of 10. So. Yeah, got to be very, very slow into this first corner, and that's what I pretty much found with the whole of the course in this Hummer. You just got to brake very, very early. I mean, there was still decent performance in this vehicle. It still got some decent speed out of it, but then you just have to remember that the brakes weren't particularly good. Got to also remember to take slightly wider lines through some of these corners. I was worried about rolling through here, but I never quite got it fast enough to actually get it up on two wheels. I'm sure if you hit it just right, though, you could get the Hummer to roll relatively easy around that section. The hairpin giving it a wider berth this time, not by very much, but yeah, making sure we don't have the vehicle roll over. Surprisingly, I never had problems getting it slowed down through here, having kind of got used to with the other vehicles making sure you were plenty slow enough through that section. I was managing to get the Hummer stopped through there. Dealing with the landings of the jumps again was not particularly challenging. For the H1, we had no real issues across here. I mean, it bounced up a little bit on that one, but there's no major issues as we come to the high-speed jump. Again, just a little dab on the brakes before takeoff. It's only a tiny dab that you need to get the vehicle slowed down. I didn't have any issues with the bushes either. Even going from one side on two wheels to the other, all the way down that section, managed to keep control of the Hummer a little bit on two wheels around the second to last corner, and then bouncing across the various nasty bumps, and then is flat out around the final turn and across the line for the H1. And we use another tree to slow us down. Yeah, a good car, this one. It was a lot nicer through the turns than I expected from it. Dealt with the corners really well, landing of the bumps well as you would expect from an SUV. It was just the braking, just trying to get this car slowed down. You had to brake super, super early for pretty much all of the corners. Catch you out a few times. Once you got the hang of it, though, pretty damn good car. On to the times, and the Volvo is the quickest of the three, perhaps rather unsurprising. That one on 1:30.2 puts it at pretty much identical time to the Sterling. That's not too bad. Not too bad from the Volvo at all. That I think the Hummer is down a little bit further, 1:35.6, which, admittedly, you know, it's down towards the bottom of the table. However, considering the problems you have with the brakes in that car, I mean, it's only, what, a second, under a second slower than the Windsor. That's not bad from the Hummer at all. And the Daewoo is 0.4 of a second behind the Hummer, 136 dead. The handling of that car is interesting, fighting this mountain. Yeah, you got to take interesting lines. You got to avoid every single bush. Incredibly nose heavy. It certainly feels like it. Yeah, the Daewoo, an interesting challenge, certainly, driving that one down Chiliad. But don't forget, it is the world's best getaway car. So maybe for rallying down Chiliad, you don't particularly want it. But if you need something to get away from the police, you definitely want to go for the Daewoo. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.